Let's take off this morning with the Ghanaian Times. The big story talks about the Bawku conflict and efforts to resolve the situation there. President Mahama calls for calm after Otumfuo committee presents report. Also, the front page this morning: ban raw rubber exports to save local industry. WRHC urging government. Some other stories make the front page.
Okay, I have the Daily Guide with me and front page stories. MPP flag bearer race. Bawumia leads with 67.8%, Ken 21.3%, and that's according to the CAS survey. Other stories: SC blocks Pandai election rerun. Nanado dismisses Oforiatta intervention claims, and 5 social media police officers interdicted.
Let me take you to the Chronicle. I'll win hands down. Brian Achampon is quoted here. Also, the front page this morning: MPP primary, Bawumia leads CAS survey, and the Western Regional House of Chiefs demanding total ban of raw rubber exports.
The Herald is also reporting Kufuor wants Ken Oforiatta to face rule of law, admits concern over cousin's fate, but denies seeking safe passage. Other stories: Bawku rival chief must be reassigned or remain as private citizen, and that's according to Otumfuo, said to the second to the Nairi. Also, Colombia, Ghana push Fort-led growth and investment. 20% juice tax blocking Ghana's $1 billion export opportunity, and GBC boss told to step down for presidential audit.
The Informer says NDC disowns Mahama Yariga over Mahama third term agenda. Comes with a photograph of the Bawku Central Member of Parliament and that of Johnson Asiedu Nketia, former Member of Parliament for the Winchi West constituency. Also, the front page this morning: Professor Michael Kufuor opposes Galamsey courts. Details in the paper.
I have the Inquisitor and their front page stories: extradition of game gang, US praises Ghana, and it comes with 2 pictures. Dada Joe remix is one, and Abu Trika is the second. There's also an opinion on the front page. Julius Debra reflects modern day chief of staff. Other stories: TCDA engages cashew stakeholders ahead of 2025-2026 price announcement. And Cecil Osai Kwapong and the gold for oil deal. It's an article, I guess, is coming up.
The Ghanaian publisher says Bawumia tops confidence poll. Also, the front page: Professor Yanka to Mahama, third term is a red line. And some other stories on the front page, including the Supreme Court's decision on Pandai.
Okay, to the new publisher, front page story: Kufuor, I'm not begging Mahama to protect Oforiatta. Also, Kulendi cleared, petition dismissed. Details page 2. And Afenyo Marking gifts Ifutu 19th Library and ICT Center.
The News Center says margins turns 35 years from a $100 idea to Africa's most certified identity powerhouse. Comes with a photograph of Moses Kwesi Baden Jr., who is the founder and CEO of Margins Group. Congratulations to them. Also on the front page this morning: Opon Nkrumah hands over 2 classroom blocks to Ofuansi and Ayerebe.
I'll conclude with the Daily Gist. NPP presidential race, Bawumia leads with 68% in latest poll. Also, Supreme Court suspends Kpandai by-election. Otumfuo presents Bawku peace roadmap to Mahama. Kufuor denies lobbying safe passage for Oforiatta.
The final newspaper I have is the Ghanaian Point. The big story says Mahama dismisses petition seeking removal of Justice Yoni Kulendi. Also on the front page: Mahama signals key role for Alan Tremantin ahead of AU.
Let me give you a few online stories. ChannelOne, newsonline.com. Domestic tourism generated over 6.6 billion. This is actually generated 6.6 billion from over 15 million trips.
Wow.
In other headlines: Vanderpoy orders full probe into burnt drip machinery at Dunkwa on Ofin. Asantehene details history behind Bawku conflict, and he also says that both sides agreed to the mediation. He also endorses Leslie Osei-Bonsu for Ameniampon Silver Stool. Those are some of the stories. Meanwhile, Forestry Commission is seeking paramilitary status. They want to enter the forest with Kafugbe to chase away the people. Meanwhile, CitiNewsroom.com, Fifikwete says early flag bearer talk an insult to NDC and to Mahama. The Ochin is asking this government to invest more in rural healthcare to save lives. The finance minister says BOG boards must remain functional despite new governments. And then small scale miners urge IGP to investigate police harassment in Bekwai. If you go to myjournalline.com, the product failed in the market. Brian Champon tears into Baumia 2024 numbers. He says, I'm way ahead. He dismisses polls and predicts MPP primary victory. In other headlines, I'm not here to say who was right or wrong. Asantehene on Bawku process. And then barely in office, already talking power. Fifi Kwete slams early succession talk in the NDC. Let's get into the details, people.
Okay, quickly, let me tell you about President Mahama talking about Bawku yesterday at that ceremony at the presidency. Page 12 of the Ghanaian Times has the story. Julius Yaopetechi writes for the Ghanaian Times and says President John Dramani Mahama has called for continuous peace and calm in the Bawku area following the determination of the decades-old chieftaincy conflict between the Kusasis and Mamprosis, which has ravaged the area. Now, he said the area which shares border with Burkina Faso and then also they share border with Togo remain critical to the overall peace of the country and must stay peaceful at all times. There's a quote here that talks about what it is. Well, the point is that the Asantehene Osei the second, the sole mediator in the said conflict, said the committee had established that Nanba Asigri Abugrago Azoka II is the lawful heir to the Bawku king and paramount chief of the Kusang traditional area.
All right.
Okay, so there's a story I was trying to pick from the Herald, but I think I'll go to the Daily Guide version. That's Nanado dismisses Oforiatta intervention claims, story by Ebenezer K. Amponsa, and it reads, the office of the former president Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo has refuted media reports suggesting that he's seeking President John Mahama's intervention to secure what has been described as safe passage for former Minister of Finance Ken Oforiatta. A rejoinder issued by the office of the former president on Tuesday, December 16, 2025, described the publication by the Herald newspaper titled Troubled Kufuor seeks Mahama's audience for Oforiatta's return, and subsequently reported by other media outlets as false. The office wishes, quote, the office wishes to state emphatically that this publication is utterly false. It is a total fabrication of the supposed source, it disclosed. The office further stated that Nana Kufuor has neither contemplated such a consideration nor expressly or impliedly made any such request or representation to President Mahama, his agents or assigns.
Right.
It noted, as a firm believer in democratic tenets, Nana Kufuor's fidelity to the rule of law has never been in question.
Okay, let me take you to Pandai. The Supreme Court orders EC to suspend Pandai parliamentary election rerun. Bernice Besse writes for the Chronicle and says the Supreme Court has adjourned the hearing of an application challenging the Pandai parliamentary election rerun to January 13, 2026. Effectively placing a temporary halt on preparations for the rerun. Now, the adjournment followed a prayer by the New Patriotic Party parliamentary candidate for Pandai, Matthew Nyindam, who argued that the first interested party in the matter had not been served with the relevant court processes. Now, the case, it goes on to give you details, but the point is that the elections cannot go on until the matters are resolved.
MPP has been reacting to this,
yes,
and they say it's in the right direction. The NDC itself, their General Secretary has said early flag bearer talk is an insult to NDC and to Mahama. He was speaking on face-to-face yesterday. Two quick stories on drip equipment. The chief executive of the drip has ordered a probe into banned drip equipment at Dunkwano-Fin. This was after some disagreement over Galamsey in the central region. Neil Antevanapoy has given the team 2 weeks to come up with a report on the matter.
Okay, let me deal with two quick stories, and Kakra will come in. One has to do with the NDC reportedly disowning Mahama Ayariga. You know, he's made some comments regarding possible third term as being discussed by some people within the NDC. And the NDC has come out to say this. Okay, let me just tell you the first paragraph of the story in the Informer. Says the governing National Democratic Congress has disassociated itself from the comments made by the majority leader in Parliament, Mahama Yariga, that he is prepared to champion any agenda to have Article 66(2) of the Constitution amended to allow President John Dramani Mahama run for a third term. Yesterday, Fifi Kwete spoke about that and said that, look, they are not as a party going to pursue that. And then if you go to page 3 of the Ghanaian publisher, Professor Yanka is telling President Mahama that third term is a red line and he should not cross it.
All right.
Okay, so there's a story in the Daily Guide, page 4, titled "The Silent Price Surge: Why Ghana's Vegetables Are Getting Costlier and What Must Be Done." And the source is Enoch Young, and it reads: Ghana's vegetable markets, from Agbogbloshie in Accra to trading centers in Kumasi, Kaswa, and Takoradi, are experiencing a silent yet significant price surge. Vegetables that once formed the backbone of affordable household meals, including cabbage, garden eggs, okra, pepper, lettuce, and tomatoes, have risen sharply in cost. This trend contrasts with national economic indicators. Although the Ghana Statistical Service (GSS) reported a decline in headline inflation to 11.5% and food inflation to 14.8% in August 2025, these figures do not reflect the daily reality faced by many consumers and traders. In conclusion, the story reads that the rising cost of vegetables in the country is a pressing but solvable challenge. While national inflation data suggests improvement, market realities reveal persistent instability driven by climate unpredictability, high input costs, weak infrastructure, and post-harvest losses.
While we are talking about the cost of vegetables and their prices going up, there is a concern in the Ghanaian the news center this morning by Elvis Dako regarding how much ADB is paying for a particular property. The story says serious questions are being raised about the financial judgment of the management of the Agricultural Development Bank ADB following revelations that the state-owned bank has been paying a monthly rent of $7,500 for a prime East Legon facility it has failed to occupy 4 clear months after the tenancy officially took effect. So there are some questions regarding that. If you look at the numbers, they are troubling. And then also quickly, Mahama CJ Claire Yoni Kulendi, the story also is on page 2 of the news center, says President John Dramani Mahama has dismissed a petition seeking the removal of Justice Emmanuel Yoni Kulendi from office as a justice of the Supreme Court following a determination by the Chief Justice that the allegations contained in the petition failed to establish a prima facie case.
There's an interesting write-up in the High Street Journal on business. Quick credit, high costs. How rogue loan apps are exploiting Ghana's digital economy. And it basically says that Ghana's booming digital economy attracts rogue loan apps, exploiting regulatory gaps, high mobile money usage, and vulnerable users profiting from fear, coercion, and exorbitant short-term interest rates. Very interesting article by Makida El Husseini. And it basically reads that the explosive growth of mobile money and smartphone usage in Ghana has created one of West Africa's most vibrant digital economies. It has also opened doors to a parallel financial marketplace operating quietly beneath the surface of regulation and licensed digital loan apps. Many with no physical presence in Ghana have found fertile ground in an economy where quick credit is in high demand and consumer protection struggles to keep pace with technology. It's a fantastic article, great read, and I think it deserves some follow-up.
Finally, from me, this is from The Inquisitor. U.S. praises Ghana. The U.S. Charge d'Affaires at the U.S. Embassy in Ghana, Rolf Olson, has described the extradition of a total of 9 Ghanaian nationals to the United States on cybercrime charges within a year as extraordinary achievement, given the complexity and challenges of the extradition processes. Speaking at a roundtable discussion at the U.S. Embassy in Accra on Friday, December 12, Olson commended the government of President John Mahama for his cooperation. He attributed the extraditions to the government's support and commitment to upholding the rule of law.
I am way ahead. Brian Champon dismisses polls and predicts MPP primary victory. You read 2 polls that put Bawumia ahead, but aspiring MPP flag bearer Dr. Brian Champon says internal profiling by his campaign shows he is far ahead there is for the party's presidential slot, despite public opinion suggesting otherwise. Speaking on PM Express on Tuesday, the former MP for actually is the current MP, right?
Yeah, no, yes.
For Abetifi, so I don't know why they call him former. Said his team had profiled almost all eligible delegates ahead of the poll. We are doing military precision profiling and we profiled 190,000 delegates, and he says what he's emphatic that from the exercise he's miles ahead.
Okay.
We have profiled all the candidates and I'm way ahead.
Meanwhile, some other stories quote a poll that suggests that Bawumia is leading. But before I go, Bernard, if I may, if you go to page 5 of the news center, there's what is almost a pullout on the Margins Group turning 35 years from a $100 idea to Africa's most certified identity powerhouse. It has great details on the company, beautiful photographs on what they are doing, the achievements, and why they should be given greater footprints across the
Thank you,
African
Richard
continent.
Sky. Thank you, Francisca Kakra-Forson.